Hi everyone. There's a very good reason I'm filming my dog sleeping, because the topic of my video tonight is everything's okay. Everything's alright. The world is a wonderful place and there's no need to worry. Everyone seems so anxious at the moment. And I'm constantly hearing people saying the world we live in this day and age, these worrying times, in times like these, and it's not worthy of being discussed about in such negative terms, because we are living in the most wonderful period ever in history. You are living a lifestyle so much better than your parents, and your parents lived a lifestyle so much better than their parents, and their parents lived a lifestyle so much better than their parents, and so on and so forth. And what I would encourage you to do if you feel anxious about the world is to get away from the things that make you anxious. Get away from Facebook. It's such a negative place. It's full of people that are worried and anxious and talk about their worries and their anxiety, and it just goes around and around in circles. Look at the life and the style of living that we have, and don't dream of a past that didn't exist. You have sanitation, you have flushing toilets, you can access pain medication. Your grandparents weren't able to access Panadol. Their parents didn't have flushing toilets. Their parents didn't even have toilet paper. The police force has only been around for a few hundred years. 300 years ago, if someone was robbing your house, there was not a thing you could do about it. 300 years ago, if you came down with a fever or a flu, there was nothing you could do about it. There was no antibiotics, there was no surgery. There was surgery, but there was no pain relief. The time that we live in now is absolutely incredible, and I think that people are actually living so well that they're looking for things to be worried about. I heard on the news that there were 4 people arrested in Sydney over a terrorism plot, and that is terrible. That's a bad thing, but it's not something that you should worry about, because when you look at today and you look at hundreds of years ago, we are so safe. Hundreds of years ago, they didn't have federal police to foil terrorism plots. Hundreds of years ago, the terrorists were just streaming in. To England, for instance, the terrorists were the Vikings, the men from Norway, the Norse men. They came in and they brutally raped people, they brutally pillaged, and there was no one to stop them. There were no federal police to stop them at the border. Hundreds of years ago, the king could do whatever he wanted to do. If he wanted to build a castle, he could just knock down your house and do it. Which is why the Magna Carta was signed, so that the king lost his ultimate power. But even then, if you were the king, you were looking at reaching a maximum age of 50. And now we're looking at reaching maximum ages of 80, 90, 100. So the life that you are are living at the moment is so blessed and so incredible. You're able to get on a plane and fly around the world and see incredible sights. You're able to stay up at night and read with the light without worrying that you're going to be burning precious commodities. You're able to put on a heater or air conditioning. You're able to get in your car and go for a drive. These are all things that were unheard of for your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents. Any single part of your life, if you went back in time just 100 years and detailed just one aspect of your life to your relatives, they would think you're living in paradise. If you went back in time to the plague era and said to anyone there that was absolutely suffering the worst anxiety, and if you said, in my time we could just knock this on the head with some antibiotics, they would say you're living in paradise. If you said, I'm able to call my friend on the phone, they'd say you're living in paradise. If you said we don't have to throw our effluents over the balcony into the street, we just flush it down the toilet, we never see it again, we never smell it, they would say you're living in paradise. You don't need to be worried about people raping and pillaging. You don't need to be worried about any of these absolutely horrible things that happened in the past. We are living in amazing times, incredible times, the most peaceful times. So get off Facebook. Stop watching the news if it makes you upset. Stop reading the paper. Because the things that are in there are sensational. And the time you are missing the amazing things that are happening, you are missing your incredible blessings by worrying about things that in comparison to what your grandparents, your parents, your great-grandparents worried about, it's so insignificant. And you are so safe, and you are so healthy, and you are so secure. Just like this dog who doesn't have a care in the world. So that's all I wanted to say. Don't worry. Look for the things that make you happy. Wake up every morning and think about the reason you're going to get out of bed. I'm not a morning person. I hate mornings. But when I wake up, I think, I can't wait for my cup of tea with honey and milk. And that one little spark of joy is enough to get me up, to get me through getting dressed and getting out of my nice warm pajamas. Look at the positives in life because there are so many. You are so incredibly blessed. You are not starving. You have a nice warm shower. You don't have to worry about where your next slice of bread is coming from. You're able to wash your clothes every day. Look at the positives. I know that's hard to say, but there are so many. Don't be anxious. Don't worry. Write down on a piece of paper 20 things that you are thankful for that you have